Beat Matt down there in Brazil. And this is the first time that we get to do two. That's right, two. That's right, two segments at the exact same time. As everyone knows, we do a weekly segment with our Ultimate Fighter correspondent, Jason Knight. And then we also do a weekly segment with last night's winner, who is also Jason Knight. Let's welcome back to the program, Jason Knight. Jason, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. I was taking my little break from work, so kind of happy you called.
All right, well, we'll get right into it. But before we do, you've said that every week, taking a break from work. Where do you work? What's the name of the company, and what are you doing?
I work at a company called International Welding and Fabrication in Moss Point, Mississippi. And, we fabricate pipe, we fabricate steel, we weld it, just get stuff ready to send out to these big plants and stuff around here. And, these guys are awesome for letting me do my weekly interview and, making sure that I put my career above my job,
Well, and we would like to thank them as well. So we'll get right into it so we don't hold you up too much. We're only talking up through last night. Where are we in filming?
I think we're on week 2. Week 2. I fought on week 2, and we're at the point where Jason Knight beats up Landon Quinones.
Yes, we are. Leading up to, as you got ready to leave the house to and I know the fight that we talked about last week was at the same time. What's the tension like before that as you are leaving to go to the Apex? What's the tension like after last week? And we talked about it, how it looked one way and then it changed. And then how was the tension during your fight?
Man, for my guys, we were all, just knowing that we were just 2 fights away from, running the table for the first time ever. And we're all fully expecting that to happen. We thought for sure that this is it. We're going to knock out these last 2 fights, and it's going to be an all-Chandler semifinal. And, everybody on my team were on cloud 9. The other team, you could kind of see the fear setting in. Well, not really so much fear. I don't think they were scared of us, but they were scared of the possibility of, going 0-8. And, we were all excited about the possibility of, going 8-0. And then on fight day, it was just calm, cool, collected, ready to go out there and do some work. I was just happy that it was finally my time. This is something, at this point, I've put in I put in right around 8 to 10 weeks of training. And, I'm finally getting to go out here and, display what all I've been working on.
Matt, you there?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So Jason, over the weekend, we just saw Moreno lost the belt to Pantoja. Do you see a lot of similarities in the fact that he was driving for Uber just a few months ago, that he's still working and making his dream his reality, and now he is the champion? Do you take a lot away from that as inspiration?
Oh, yeah, man, it's inspirational for sure. I have always, kind of somewhat stayed working even whenever I was getting ready for fights, because a lot of people think that, if you make it somewhere that all of a sudden you're rich, but that's not the case. You make a good paycheck, but if you don't stay working consistently, that money just disappears. And, that's one of the mistakes I made the first time when I got in the UFC. I thought that the money that was coming in, each, 3 or 4 months, 5 months, however long it would be between fights, I thought that would be enough to hold me over. But, whenever you try to spend money like you got, a lot in the bank or something, it disappears quickly. So, that's kind of the game plan now, is to stay working while trying to get to the top, and to see that someone else made that happen. That's all the more drive for me. I just got to keep in the gym, even though I'm working, go hit the gym afterwards. And I think that the sky's the limit.
Again, and I want to emphasize, we are only talking up through the end of last night's episode. And there was a comment made at the end of last night's episode that kind of has me pissed. I'm sure that we'll see more next week, and I don't know if it's the time to ask or ask the question. And if it's not, we can move on. At the end of last night's episode, Connor goes over to Dana and says, "Are we going to shuffle things up if we get shut out? If we lose next week, it'll be 0-8 for them, 8-0 for you." Did you know that he said that before you saw it last night? And is it too early, to even discuss that?
I did not know that, he had said that. But at this point in the game, we're all kind of thinking, hey, if we go 8-0, are they going to try to make us go to the other team? So that way we're not training with the guys that we're supposed to be fighting in a week. And as far as my whole team, everyone except for Brad Katona was totally against that. No matter what, we were not switching to Team McGregor, and we were not going to put on that blue jersey no matter what. And, Brad, he was kind of on the fence about it. Of course, I understand that because his home coaches were right there on the other team. So, I don't really blame him for that. But as far as the rest of the Red team, there was no way in the world that we were going over to Team McGregor.
Okay, and we'll discuss it more, next week and weeks coming up. But that was my thing is, here you picked the team. You're now 7-0-7. Why would somebody, who's on Team Chandler and bonded, and that's one of my next questions too, is Team Chandler really as tight as it appears to be, whether it's from the coaching all the way down? And that's why I was upset and even tweeted after the show. If that's the case, Bader and a coach can take one side and, Chandler and a coach can take the other. You've been training together. What difference does it make?
Yeah, man, that's the way our whole team looked at it. We already know what the other guy has to offer. We've been training with him for, this whole time, and we know kind of what to expect. Our opponent already knows what to expect, no matter who it's going to be. They kind of already know a little bit about us. They've trained with us. They know what to look for. And, switching to the other team is not going to change that. We all said that we will train side by side. I'll train with the person I'm fighting up until the day of the fight. That's perfectly fine, but there's no way that we're ever switching to that blue jersey for two reasons. Obviously, nobody really cared to be on Connor's team because we heard a lot of bad from, his teammates, the guys that were supposed to be getting coached by him. He was lacking in the department of coaching. He was, letting his team handle that for him for the most part. And secondly, that blue jersey was just ugly as can be. The red jersey was just way cooler, so we definitely didn't want to have to put that ugly jersey on.
That's awesome. Final question for you. Was it different walking from the back of the Apex, to the cage than any other fight or, whether bare knuckle, whether MMA, or was it different?
It was definitely different, just mainly because it was just so much quieter. You had so much more time to just be in your own head and think. Whenever you walk out to a big crowd, it's kind of overwhelming, but at the same time, it's kind of like fuel to feed the fire, I guess you could say. Whenever you're in that quiet, it's almost breathtaking because there's nobody there but you. All you can hear is your thoughts. You don't have all the roar of the crowd to drown out the thoughts inside of your head. So yeah, it was definitely. It felt like it was more pressure to me in that quiet situation than the roar of the crowd.
Very good stuff. Jason, as always, thank you for your time each and every week. Thank you for doing double duty today. Congrats on last night. Quick, and it looked fairly easy, and I can't wait for the next one.
Yes, sir. Real quick before you go, the only thing I didn't like about last night's episode, I said a prayer with my opponent at weigh-ins, and they didn't play that. Hopefully next time they'll get it right and they'll make sure that, that part of the episode is actually on there. You have a good day. I appreciate you having me on the show.
As well, that is Jason Knight. I did forget to bring that up as Jason and I talked about it. And that's why reality shows, and that's why every fighter, including Michael Chandler, does a segment after to get out things that coulda, shoulda, woulda. All right, we're at the top of the hour. 1 hour to go. 2 hours or 1 hour down.